If you think trusts are only for the ultra-rich, think again, because whether you're building wealth, protecting your family's future, or just trying to reduce taxes in retirement, trusts aren't just for billionaires. In fact, they're one of the most powerful and underused planning tools available to everyday Canadians. But here's the problem. Most people don't understand what a trust actually does, and many professionals don't explain it clearly. So in this video, we're cutting through the complexity. I'll break down what a trust is, why they're used, and how Canadians, even with modest wealth, can use them to protect assets, reduce taxes, and control how their legacy is passed on. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Darcy Bell, and I'm a certified financial planner professional with IG Wealth Management. I work with Canadians across the country to help them grow and protect their wealth and make smarter decisions about retirement, tax planning, and estate strategies. If you find value in topics like this, make sure to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel for more financial planning content made specifically for Canadians. Let's dive in. Part 1. What is a trust and how does it work in Canada? A trust, at its core, is a legal relationship, not an entity like a corporation or a person. Think of it like a holding bucket. You place assets into that bucket and you appoint someone to manage what's inside for the benefit of someone else. There are 3 key players in every trust. The settlor. This is the person who creates the trust and contributes the initial assets, usually a small amount to get things started. The trustee. This is the person or institution who controls and manages the assets according to the terms of the trust. The beneficiary. This is the person or group of people who benefit from the assets in the trust, whether through income, capital, or both. Now in Canada, there are 2 main types of trusts. 1, inter vivos trust. These are created while you're alive. 2, testamentary trusts. These are created through your will and come into effect when you pass away. Each type has very different rules when it comes to taxation, control, and cost. So why would someone go through the effort of setting one up? Because a trust allows you to separate control of the assets from ownership. That's where the power lies. Let's say you want to pass down assets to your kids, but they're too young, too financially inexperienced, or maybe just not in a position to manage a lump sum inheritance wisely. A trust allows you to set the terms for when and how they receive the money. Appoint a trustee to oversee how the money is used. Protect the assets from creditors, divorces, or poor spending decisions. And beyond family planning, trusts can also be used for tax planning, business succession, charitable giving, and estate freeze strategies for high net worth Canadians. Even if you're not ultra wealthy, trusts can still play a powerful role in protecting inheritances, providing for loved ones with disabilities or vulnerabilities, reducing probate fees and keeping your affairs private, ensuring your wishes are followed even when you're not here to enforce them. And remember, trusts aren't just for investment portfolios. You can put real estate, private company shares, insurance proceeds, and other assets into a trust, depending on your goals. That's why it's so important to work with a financial planner and legal professional when considering a trust, because how you set it up determines how it's taxed, used, and protected. Part 2, why high net worth Canadians use trusts and what you can learn from them. Trusts have long been a cornerstone strategy for wealthy families in Canada. Not because they're trying to be secretive, but because trusts offer a level of control, protection, and tax flexibility that other tools simply can't match. But here's the good news. You don't need to be ultra wealthy to benefit from the same principles. Let's explore the top reasons high net worth Canadians use trusts and how these apply to more everyday situations too. Number 1, to protect assets across generations for high net worth individuals. The goal isn't just about passing wealth down, it's about preserving it. A trust can help shield assets from divorce or separation. If your child receives an inheritance through a trust, it can be excluded from marital property in many cases. Creditor claims. If a beneficiary is a business owner or in a high-risk profession, a trust can protect assets from lawsuits or creditors. Irresponsible spending. Some beneficiaries may lack financial maturity. A trust can stagger distributions or tie them to milestones. For example, education, age, age, sobriety. Even if you're not passing down millions, a trust can ensure that what you do leave behind gets used the way you intended, especially if you have young children, dependents with special needs, or family dynamics that require care. 2. To control how and when inheritance is distributed. A common fear among parents and grandparents is the lottery winner effect, leaving a large lump sum to a young or inexperienced beneficiary who burns through it in just a few years. Trusts eliminate this risk by letting you set the rules. You might decide, for example, my daughter receives $10,000 per year from the trust until age 30, then $50,000 at age 35, and the rest at 40. My son can only access the funds for education, medical needs, or buying a first home. Distributions are subject to the trustee's discretion based on need. Whether you're leaving behind $100,000 or $1 million, a trust lets you pass on your values, not just your money. Number 3, to minimize probate and keep affairs private. When you pass away, assets that go through your will are subject to probate, the court process of validating your will and distributing your estate. This can take 6 to 12 months or cost more than 1.5 to 2% of your estate value in some provinces. Make your financial affairs a matter of public record. Assets inside a trust bypass this process. If privacy and efficiency are important to your estate plan, especially if you own real estate or business interests, holding those assets in a trust can keep them out of court, reduce delays, and save thousands in fees. Number 4, to reduce taxes. Through income splitting, some types of trusts, like discretionary family trusts, can help split income among family members in lower tax brackets, subject to current tax rules like TOSI, the tax on split income. While recent legislation has limited the flexibility of these strategies, they're still incredibly effective in the right circumstances. If you run a business or have investment income, using a trust to allocate taxable income to lower income family members can significantly reduce the household tax bill when done correctly. Number 5, to hold insurance proceeds for minor or dependent children. When naming beneficiaries for a life insurance policy, many people name their kids directly. But if those children are minors or have disabilities, the proceeds might not be handled the way you expect. A trust can be named as the beneficiary of a policy instead, ensuring the money is professionally managed. The child receives the funds gradually or when they're ready. Government benefits for a child with special needs aren't disrupted. A trust can act as a safety net for your children, giving them access to resources while maintaining long-term protection and structure. Bottom line, high net worth Canadians don't use trusts just because they're wealthy. They use them because they offer control, protection, tax efficiency, and legacy planning in one package. And those same benefits can apply to you, especially if you have children, own a business, or care about what happens to your assets after you're gone. Part 3, common trust mistakes and how to avoid them. Trusts can be incredibly effective, but like any financial tool, they're only as good as the strategy behind them. And unfortunately, many Canadians make costly mistakes that limit the benefits or create unintended consequences. Whether you're just starting to explore trusts or already have one in place, here are some of the most common pitfalls and how to avoid them. 1, assuming one trust fits all. There's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all trust. There are many different types of trusts in Canada, including testamentary trusts, created through your will and only activated at death, inter vivos or living trusts, created while you're alive, discretionary family trusts, commonly used in business or investment planning, alter ego and joint partner trusts, used for probate and privacy planning later in life, Henson Trust, designed for beneficiaries with disabilities. Each of these has unique tax rules, setup costs, and planning considerations. What to do instead? Work with a financial advisor and an estate lawyer to determine which type of trust, if any, fits your goals, your family situation, and your tax picture. Don't rely on generic advice from the internet. 2, naming the wrong trustee. A trustee is the person or people responsible for managing and distributing the assets in your trust, and it's one of the most important and misunderstood roles. Many people choose a close family member out of convenience, but being a trustee is long-term legal responsibility that can involve complex financial decisions, lead to conflict between siblings or heirs, expose the trustee to liability if mistakes are made. What to do instead? Choose a trustee who is financially literate, organized, impartial, and willing to take on the role. In some cases, appointing a professional trustee, like a trust company, makes more sense to ensure objectivity and compliance. Number 3, not updating the trust as your life changes. A trust is not a set it and forget it tool. As your life evolves through marriage, divorce, births, deaths, business sales, or tax changes, your trust may need to be reviewed and updated to stay aligned with your wishes and the law. Common examples of outdated trusts include beneficiaries who've passed away or no longer need support, trustees who are no longer capable or willing, distribution rules that don't reflect your current intentions. What to do instead? Review your trust every 2 to 3 years or immediately after a major life event. Meet with your advisor and lawyer to make any needed amendments or updates. Number 4, ignoring tax filing and compliance rules. Trusts in Canada are subject to specific tax reporting requirements. For example, most trusts must file a T3 tax return annually, even if no income was distributed. Recent legislation has also introduced new reporting rules starting in 2023 that require trusts to disclose detailed information about all trustees, beneficiaries, settlers, and anyone who can exert control. Missing these filings can lead to penalties and CRA scrutiny. What to do instead? Make sure your trust is properly administered. Work with an accountant who understands trust taxation and ensure you're compliant with all current reporting obligations. Number 5, setting one up without a clear purpose. One of the biggest mistakes people make is setting up a trust because they heard it's a good idea without understanding why. Trusts are powerful, but they come with legal and administrative costs. If you're not clear on the objective, tax savings, protection, control, privacy, etc., the trust may end up doing very little or causing unnecessary complexity. What to do instead? Start with your goals, not the structure. Only set up a trust when it clearly supports your financial, tax, or legacy planning objective, and when the benefits outweigh the costs. In summary, a trust can be an amazing tool, but only when it's the right type of trust, managed by the right people, built for your goals, not someone else's, reviewed and updated as your life evolves. Avoiding these common mistakes could save your family time, stress, taxes, and thousands of dollars, all while ensuring your legacy is passed on exactly as you intended. Part 4, should you consider a trust? Who it's for and who it's not for. A trust isn't just for the ultra wealthy, but it's also not for everyone. So how do you know if it's worth considering? You might benefit from a trust if you own a small business or rental properties and want to pass them on tax efficiently. You have young children or beneficiaries who aren't ready to manage an inheritance. You want to protect your estate from probate, creditors, or legal challenges. You need to provide long-term support for a child with a disability. You value privacy and don't want your estate details to become public through probate. On the other hand, if your estate is relatively simple and your main goal is just to pass along assets to adult children, a well-written will, joint ownership, and beneficiary designations may be all you need. Trusts are tools, not solutions by themselves. That's why the best first step is to meet with a professional who can evaluate whether a trust adds value to your unique financial and family situation. If you're curious about whether a trust fits into your estate or tax plan, or you're concerned about protecting your wealth across generations, let's talk. Click the link below to book a call with me. I'll help you understand the pros, cons, and real-world use cases so you can make an informed decision. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Canadian financial planning content designed to help you grow, protect, and preserve your wealth.